All right, there we go.
All right. Well, Aaron, thanks for joining us on the talent table. Excited that we finally were able to make this happen.
Yeah, me too. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we'll go ahead and jump right in. Love your background and, uh, really your presence on LinkedIn stands out. It stood out to Daryl first, and then he introduced you to me. And just kind of looking at your background, coming from, really touching different parts of marketing and now focused more on talent marketing and recruitment marketing. Um, my question for you is, how do you think recruitment and employer marketing is most, or how, what is the way that it should be most effectively utilized? And what do you do, or how do you like to define success in this kind of nebulous area that is employer marketing?
So it's so funny because you were talking about my background, and I thought we were going to talk about my gamer lights, for a second. Like that is immediate. I was like, oh yes, they like my gamer lights. This is this is what I bring to the table here, the talent table, if you will. Uh, and anyway, yes. So my background's kind of interesting because I started out, and I'll share my story a little bit. I started out wanting to be a costume designer on Broadway. And
Oh, wow.
that was my dream. I was very good at it. I convinced a lot of people that I was very good at it. In fact, Taco Bell, through their Live Más Scholarship Foundation, fully paid for me to go to school to
Wow.
study costume design.
Well,
Um, and after I got my first off Broadway job, I kind of realized that the industry just was not for me. Um, what I thought it was going to be, and kind of how the job structure was, and the kind of always on hustle that is required to succeed in that specific type of entertainment, uh, was not something that is compatible with my mental health for the long term,
Mhm.
and was not something I could see myself sustaining forever. Mostly because I don't come from a wealthy background, and I don't come from money or connections or anything. My dad
right.
was a police officer, my mom's a teacher. Uh it's not it's not like I could call someone and work on the next Tim Burton film or something to that effect. So I had
Mhm.
to accept a lot of bottom barrel jobs. And it was funny. I got my first social media position when I was actually crying backstage at a theater, trying to sew something frantically because it needed to be on stage in like 10 minutes.
Wow.
And the head of operations of the theater actually just walked up to me and was like, "Hey, you're good at Instagram, right? Do you want an extra $100 a week uh, to run this?" And I was like, "I am 20 years old and very poor. I want nothing more than an extra $100 a week." Um, and so from there, I just started finding gigs, and I started taking social media gigs, and they were really not glamorous. They were super not glamorous. I worked for a fertility company. I worked for a construction company, and while I was trying to build my experience so I could eventually get to these more like fun big ticket brands that I always like dreamed of
Right.
working for, I literally went on Groupon, and I I would look up places that did haircuts, hair dye, facials, anything, and I would specifically look. I'd be like, they probably need help on social media, and I'd be like, hey, if you give me a service, I'll give you a deck on how you should do your social media and how you should rebrand yourself. And that it one helped me get experience, and it also
Mhm.
paid for me to get my hair cut and colored in New York, which is expensive, for a year. For a
Yeah.
year or so while I was building this experience. Um, but in that, while I was job hunting, I was also in school at the time. I was trying to further my skills in digital marketing. I actually got a message from a recruiter from Blizzard, which is where I work now,
Mm.
uh, asking me, "Hey, we have a position open for a talent marketing specialist uh, on the Blizzard side. Is that something you're interested in?" And my first thought was, what's talent marketing? Um, that is not, what is that? So I Googled it, and I realized that this is something that I had been doing forever, as in terms of my my social media positions that I held previously, because I was a one-man social media team for a lot of very small companies who didn't have like giant audiences or aspirations, or were not shopping for a Cannes Lion or anything. So it was my job to also to post on LinkedIn and run recruitment campaigns where applicable. So it's like, oh, yeah, this is perfect for me. So that's kind of how I got from social media into recruitment marketing itself. And for those of you listening who don't know what recruitment marketing is or what a talent marketing specialist is, the title can mean a lot of different things and apply to a lot of different specific positions. For my position specifically, I like to describe it as I do social media on behalf of the talent acquisition team at Blizzard. So just like say for example, like the Diablo team does social media on behalf of the game Diablo 4 to help kind of sell the franchise and connect with fans. I connect with potential candidates and help make our recruiters' lives a little bit easier through social media. What surprises people I've found is my personal LinkedIn posting is not at all a part of my job under like any direction at a lot of people think it is, and a lot of people assume that that's my full-time job. No, that's a hobby. It is fully a hobby done completely on my own time. Blizzard doesn't pay me, they tolerate it. They simply are just like, yeah, that's okay, I guess. But yeah, no, that's fully just me. Recruitment marketing as a whole has a lot of different disciplines and is something that is kind of new. I wouldn't say it's fully new as a concept, but it's new to being recognized and made its own position and being invested into. And it's something that a lot of big companies are starting to really invest in. So there's a lot of aspects that go into it. There's events, there's pipelines, there's career site building. There's EVPs, employer value propositions, which can get built, as well as any other assets like sizzle reels, and as well as internal activations and keeping morale up, making sure that working with the other teams like D&I, culture, employee engagement, just to make sure that all is good and that we can amplify all of the efforts that are happening both internally and externally so that candidates can get the full picture of what it's like to work at a certain company. And there's a lot of different ways you could do that. And I think it's super fun. It's a really great job to have because it's quite a positive experience. I would say it's sorry, my manager just slacked me. It's quite the positive experience, I would say, because one, I get the joys of being able to tell stories and being able to highlight some really great things at this super fun company that I'm really lucky to work at.
Yeah.
Without the direct toxicity of video game culture in my direct work, because I get to talk with people who like really want to be here and invest in themselves and want to see, and people who make games specifically are the kind of people who see it much more beyond entertainment. Not saying entertainment isn't perfectly valid is enough, but they see it as something that's really special, which I agree on. Video games are very, very special to me. So being able to interact with these people and have fun and make memes and talk to potential candidates and sometimes even see people. My favorite was, if she's watching this, there's an intern that's on the Overwatch team. Her name's Alyssa. She's from the Midwest, and I run the Blizzard LinkedIn page. Fun fact, if you ever see the Blizzard LinkedIn page, comment anything ever, it's literally me. Anything that gets posted on there is me. It's literally just me. But I've been watching, I watched Alyssa always commenting on the Blizzard page and like always there. And then when the internship announcements came up, she was like, I applied, I'm there, I'm ready. And then it was so I like cried when she posted that she got the position because I was just so happy for her because she had been interacting with the page for so much. So being able to like see these candidate stories in real time and just watching,
Right.
especially at my company, watching dreams come true has been super rewarding. In
Right.
terms of, yeah, in terms of actual success metrics for recruitment marketing, I think there's definitely a lot that people can consider. For me, there is for on the social aspect, the things that I specifically look for is I look at sentiment. I look at how many applications I'm driving. I look at follower increase for one. And I also like to make sure a big thing is, and you can't track this with a lot of data, is just seeing how mine and my team's work affects people, affects how they're feeling about working here. Because I get a lot of messages because I do so my superpower I like to tell people is being annoying in the company-wide Slack channel. Because my favorite because I have zero shame. And my favorite thing is I always ask people like, hey, can you send me a picture of your dog with a sword? Send me a picture of your dog with the collector's edition that we just got for Diablo. Send me a picture of you posing with the orc statue at Blizzard campus, and people get really excited about being featured and being able to include people and see people be excited that, hey, I'm getting recognized at a big level from this 5,000 to 10,000 person company is super helpful, especially when they might not feel like they're being they might not feel recognized. So being able to connect with people and having people feel like they are represented is definitely another metric I look at.
Yeah, very cool.